to the Real Estate Huddle, where we are going to talk about why homes are taking so long to sell. Right. This is episode 106. We appreciate you joining us. And no guests today. We're just going to talk amongst ourselves, right, about what we're seeing in the market. Yeah. Kristen is
I am a part
honorary
of the team,
special.
for those of you guys that forgot.
She pretty much runs our team from the office. So
behind the scenes.
She's here to keep us on schedule.
Absolutely. Yep. She hears a lot of things that our clients say and do, a lot of emails and calling in and stuff like that. So it's great to have your insight here as well. And so we're gonna get this conversation started. So why are homes taking so long to sell? What do you guys think?
I think this is a multi-factor problem.
Yes, it is. So first factor, inventory.
So we have a lot of inventory on the market.
Got a lot of choices.
A lot of choices. I mean, if there's one that's a little more run down, you can almost guarantee that there's one that's going to be pretty close in price that's not as run down.
Yeah.
Or, you can there's just so many options to choose from. Yep. And so many different locations. Mm-hmm. Like Colorado's got a lot of locations to choose from as far as just a great place to live too. So,
I'm just going to be devil's advocate today. So inventory, balanced market, they say is 12,000 homes. Economists have said that for years.
In the seven
Today,
county?
in our team meeting, we saw that inventory went from 12,400 to just over 12,000, right? So we're basically in a balanced market. So tell me, like, why is it taking longer in this market than normal?
So I think another one is affordability, right? So the whole COVID era, it altered the minds of a lot of people in multiple ways, but in the real estate way, definitely. As far as like, we had prices here, they rose exponentially with lower rates. So people had this, almost had this expectation of like, okay, if I'm going to pay this much, my rate better be this or whatever it is. Now rates we have high price homes with higher rates, which does not typically happen in a market. Usually it kind of goes like this, right? It kind of, they almost inverse each other. But, now we're just in a market where people are like, I mean, I've got a good rate. When I bought the house, I got a really good rate. So I'm going to kind of stay with that until, even though I don't really like my house that much, we're just going to kind of hold until something really changes in the rates and affordability. So I think that's probably the biggest one in my opinion. I don't know. Do you have more to add on that one?
I think the big thing is so if you're sitting at a house with a 3% interest rate, and you want to go to that next size home or you want to downsize, when you start looking at the math for the value that you're getting when homes are 30-40% more expensive and your payment is $3,000 more a month, you're flinching quite hard at that. Like, our house isn't that bad because I've got a 3% interest rate, right? So when you run out that math, you go, wow, this isn't too bad. Also, I think the other part is since 2012, we've had 6,000 homes on the market or less pretty consistently since 2012 until the last year. Yeah. So you've got more than a decade where if 12,000 is balanced and you're at 6,000, it means you have two buyers for every listing. Yeah. Well, now you've got one buyer for every listing, and it's taking a lot longer to get that buyer in. And as a buyer going out, and you used to see a lot of homes and you would write offers in the driveway because what is Jackson's? If you sleep on it, you might not sleep in it. That's his line, right? It was kind of a pressured thing. You had to go hurry up and do it. Now people are being a little bit more selective because it's a higher payment. So they're thinking a little bit more. Hey, I really want this, or I don't want to come into a honey-do list that's got $10,000 worth of work that I got to do to a home and the payment that is at that price. So for somebody who I worked in engineering for 2 decades. I'm always kind of I'll do it myself. There's no emotional appeal for me. I'm very logical when I'm buying a home. Sorry, Landon, you had to deal with that. But
I was Brock's realtor.
So
it was great. I pulled out the spreadsheets.
Yeah,
we got it done.
Brock loves a good spreadsheet.
But the fun thing is I have been proven wrong on that philosophy from all of our listings. The ones that have that emotional appeal, that new carpet smell, the fresh paint. Like you come in and wow those things over. What I will generally do to my own homes over time, we're doing to our clients' homes in a short period of time to get them ready to list. And when you create that emotional appeal, it's it really helps it sell. And that's where we have our successful listings are the ones that get that done. So in this market, when you got 12,000 homes on the market,
Yeah.
if
But
you don't
even
create
those, like those still sit on the market. I mean, our average days on market is what, 45, 55 days maybe?
yeah, for single family homes.
Yep. And that's on those types of homes.
Yep.
If you don't have a home or you don't have the cash to put into your home to update it or whatever, or you choose not to, it's probably going to sit longer.
Yeah.
Just because of all the choices and all the people that can do that. So devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I know you have something.
No, actually, I'm going to agree with that. So your point about how interest rates are higher and home values are still high is really interesting. So like I've got the data here. So the average
Is that
price.
a spreadsheet, Landon?
It is, yeah. So average price, don't get too excited over there. Table shaking. The average price in 2021 was 608. Okay. Average price in the entire market in 2022, 689. Right. And I've gotten lots of people on our YouTube channel that comment and say, why do sellers keep thinking it's 2022 pricing? Right. And what people don't understand is average price in 2023, 682. Average price in 2024, 704. Average price in 2025, year to date, 712. Right. So it's gone up 3.33% since 2022.
Yeah.
The market has gone up. So I would equate it to Coors Field right now, right? There's like a worse experience going to Coors Field to see a Rockies game because they're awful. But at the same time, people are still showing up. And because people are still showing up, the market's still there, right? And so it's kind of the same
People
thing.
keep showing up to Colorado.
People have way worse payments right now to buy the same house,
Yeah.
but people keep showing up. There's still enough buyers, and so prices haven't come down.
Montfort's
They
all
stay
over
there, or they've gone up slightly, 3.33% in the last 3 years. So I think that's what's going on, and that's why things aren't just selling like hotcakes, is because we haven't had the dip in pricing that we had in 2008 to 2011.
We're still seeing growth.
And we don't know if that's going to happen. Honestly, if rates keep trickling downward, I don't think we do have any dip because the buying demand is still there.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I think if we have, if we get past a certain point on the rates dropping, because they are making a slow trickle, and what today's October 21st. Well, I'll say that so that people understand where we're at. But they are making a slow trickle downward. I think if we start to see fives as the first number, I think we're going to see the market change again, which then we see affordability get worse on the price.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could be.
But I think it's interesting because even just earlier, before you guys were saying if they're in the luxury market, then, if they want to downsize or if they want to upsize, you could kind of be looking at the same price if you're in the luxury market, downsizing or kind of staying where you're at,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Same
or
payment.
like that lateral move. That lateral move kind of doesn't exist at this point.
No, your lateral move is actually an increase in price for the same square footage or less square
Yeah.
footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking 1,000 to 1,500 more just because of
Yeah.
the interest difference.
If not more than that.
Yeah. Definitely. So that's what people are evaluating, right? And that's why, there are less buyers in the market today. But
yeah.
there's two great divides right now, right? One big divide is single family versus attached, right? So like two stories there. So we look at pricing from 2022 to today, and that pricing has gone in single family detached homes. We've gone from 779,000 in 2022 to 779 to 794. Right. So we've gone up in the last 3 years. That would be a 1.85% increase.
In 7 counties of Denver?
Yep. Overall market. Right. So almost a 2% increase in the last 3 years since 2022.
That's
right. And that's year to date pricing.
You know what's crazy? Hold on. You know what's crazy about that? What was the statistic? 2 out of every 3 homes that are on the market have a price decrease.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least once or twice before they sell.
Yep.
2 times. And
That's
they take an
insane.
offer.
We're leading.
And
We're leading the country in
we
price
still had a
reductions.
2% increase.
Yeah.
It's
Isn't that
stupid.
like 30?
Stop moving here.
37% of our listings have a price reduction before they sell. That's the highest mark in all of the markets, like 400 markets in the country, statistically. But yet we're still going up in price.
Sorry, I thought that was important to point out. 'Cause
Yeah, that's a
just
great
proves,
point.
That just
And I-
proves
Really good
our
point.
market, this Denver market, is almost recession proof, right? Like we don't see major dips. The only time we've ever seen a dip, and it didn't even happen in all of Colorado. I think Boulder didn't even see a dip. Was in the 2008
to a low.
Great
Yeah.
recession.
Yep.
On average, the
I
metro-
may have to stand corrected on that Boulder comment, but I'm pretty sure there were parts of Boulder that didn't even see too much of a
Yeah,
problem.
because I was out here around. I moved out here around that time frame, and I was looking at homes, and I watched. I looked at the graphs, and I'm like, they only dropped like 10%, and I'm coming from a market that dropped 50%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, I should buy a house now because. So they're
Sorry
on
to cut you
sale.
off, Landon. I
For
didn't mean
sure.
to, but-
No, that's a great point. And if we go back to this, like comparing detached to attached, the attached units in 2022, average price was $455, and today's average price year to date in 2025 is $440. So
Wait, that went down.
that went down.
Why did it go down, Landon?
And that went down 3.37%.
Devil's advocate.
Right?
Why did that go down?
So the reason why attached units have gone down so much more is rising HOA costs. All the storms and hail claims have been a disaster for a lot of
Insurance
these
has been a
HOAs.
big one.
So they've had to increase HOA dues, which hurts affordability. They've had to increase insurance costs. That hurts affordability. And property taxes have also risen on those. So that increases, the payment.
The other part that with that is to help make insurance and HOA dues affordable is they've gone from like a 5% to a 10% deductible. Well, the challenge with that is that does not allow for a conforming loan for an FHA loan.
Yep.
So now you've excluded a large chunk of your buyers.
A
So,
large chunk.
Now they're rewriting and changing those terms to adapt to the market, but it's taking it, the government's got inertia, right? So it takes a while to get them moving. So they're going to be a couple years out to respond to that. So then that buyer pool will be able to come back. But there's a lot of buyers that are excluded. So you got to do cash conventional, or you got to have huge down payments. And now you can get away with that with some places that have a legal description, that have a lot description instead of just a condo, where you can get a rider on your insurance policy to cover that delta. But there's a lot of nuances with that, but that has been a big impact.
Yeah, big time. And so that's one great divide, right? Attached versus detached. The other great divide is updated versus not updated, right? Like, because of the affordability issues that are affecting so many people's payments, you have homes that have sat for a long time are usually the ones that are not updated. They're not turnkey. Buyers feel like they could move in and live in it in grandpa's house, maybe, but they would have to put in like $100,000 to $200,000 depending on the size of the house to update cosmetics, right? And sometimes more than just cosmetics. Sometimes it's mechanical too. New windows are due in a lot of houses, like in the entire Highlands Ranch, like area needs new windows for the most part. Like there's like 75% of those homes were built in the late
That
90s.
usually doesn't happen in
So,
Parker.
yeah, sure it doesn't.
This year.
There was a boom of construction in the late 90s in all over Denver Metro, and all of those need new windows. All of a lot of them need new furnaces still, new ACs, right? So if you're not updating your home and then you try to sell it, a lot of times, buyers are so strapped with just the payment alone that they're not willing to take on payment plus projects, right? Especially if it's multiple projects.
And if you think of like other factors outside of real estate, like how much has your grocery bill increased over the past couple of years? Right? I get we like just
About $600.
Yeah, just the
per week,
the economy
feels
in
like.
general is inflated, right? So just the affordability of a house plus all the other stuff that you have to afford as well. Everything's out of control.
Spend like $12 on those cotton candy grapes now. It's crazy.
Oh, you're a cotton candy grape guy.
Oh, yeah,
I can't afford cotton candy grapes. I'm just kidding.
Kristen, what were you gonna say?
They are good though.
Yeah, it must be nice. I'll take off my sweater vest now.
But I mean, no, I was going to say like different options too. Like if there are a lot of options, kind of like what Brock is saying, then, if you look at an updated one and a not updated one that's maybe bigger, maybe you think to yourself like, okay, if I have one that's turnkey, that's smaller, maybe that's what I would prefer over one that like needs new this, new that. That's just going to be too much. Not worth it.
And people are working more to be able to have more income, right? To afford the raising costs. And so they don't have as much time either. Like that's the other big factor. So definitely good points. So those divides. And then on the flip side of that, homes that are turnkey, that are also priced right, are still selling in under 30 days all day long. Like it's happening often, right? So it's having the right strategy partner, listing agent, making sure that your home's updated. That's what really does it for you, and is making a lot of sellers successful right now. And so the overall market, 43 days on average is how long homes are selling for. But the homes that like if they are lasting over 60 days, they're getting like 6% or more off of the purchase price in most of those cases, right?
Yeah.
They're getting beat up before they sell. Where
Well, yeah, and I was gonna ask like price just for the people listening, like why are so many price adjustments happening? You know?
Yeah, good question. And I mean, I think that a lot of people, they have improved their home a little bit over time, and they may have improved their home thinking that values were going to go up like 10, 20%, and they've only gone up 3% in the last 3 years, and so they haven't been able to keep up. And a lot of them have improved their home, but not in the right places. So they've put like windows in, but that's only like a 15% return.
Yeah.
They put a new furnace in, that's only like a 15% return, right? So those aren't great returns. It's spending $15,000 to make $2,000 is not going to really put you in a great spot. And so, same with roofs, same with electrical, mechanical, plumbing, stuff like that. It's just, it doesn't give a huge return. So I think a lot of sellers have made necessary updates, but they haven't had the money to do the cosmetics. And that's what really drives the price up. But they still want the money because they put the money in. And so they're pricing their home higher, and then the market timing humbles them or teaches them, and then they have to drop and drop.
It's a mental game. Like selling a house right now is a total mental game for the seller, especially. Not so much the buyer. The buyer is coming out great. But I guess my advice to sellers, if you guys are thinking about selling in a market like this, thicken up your skin a little bit, and then get a realtor that is they're not gonna BS you. They're gonna tell you exactly what to do. They're going to tell you what to expect.
Take the emotion out of it.
Yep. And roll with it. And it's going to suck. Like there's some major growing pains when it comes to selling your house.
Yep.
But you have to understand you're getting to the next one. But in a market like this, 75%, there's a 75% chance, if not more than that you're not going to sell your house for what you're listing it at.
Yeah.
Even like, I don't know, a lot of sellers right now, they're like, I have this idea in my head that I want to sell it for this, and I don't want to go any lower than that. You have to like get rid of that mentality. It's just, so I think that's part of the problem with what we're seeing today as far as days on market, as well as we just have stubborn sellers that are looking at the equity that they had, a couple years ago, and they're like, oh, I know I have like this much equity, I don't want to lose it. And so just if you listen to your realtors, everything will work out the way it's supposed to, and in the best possible way. So a little bit of advice for you.
So in the days on market, like the split, you got 40 days for detached, 53 days for attached units right now, currently, year to date. So big dichotomy there. And between homes that are not updated, it's like,
what was
80,
it for attached?
90, 53.
53?
Yeah, on average. And then homes that are updated are still selling for about in the 20s, as far as days on market goes. So that's a huge difference. And so it's just the importance of updating your home over time and listening to good advice, I think is a big deal.
Part of that advice is probably updating your home. Like,
Yeah.
you like, even if you have to pull a credit card, maybe you'll pay that off with the funds of your home, most likely, unless you bought it last year.
Yeah.
So, or we've got contractors that'll get paid at closing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have that's the thing about having good qualified realtors is they've got the connections, they've got the ways that'll just make it as seamless as possible. And those contractors will take it out of closing.
Yeah, if the capital isn't there, we got a way to get around that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we have a new notable program that allows us to give up to $50,000 to homeowners to update their house and then pay it off at closing.
Yeah. So
if you need that help to get your home sold quicker and for more money, we can do that. So that's a pretty cool thing with working with us. And then lastly, I just want to highlight like the different scenarios and real thoughts that people are having, right? Like real situations. First time home buyers trying to get into a home for the first time. Most of them are seeing all the challenges with townhomes and condos, and they're trying to skip all the way up to single family home entry level, right? And that's just, they're just waiting, right? They're just taking longer to save up for down payments. They're waiting longer because they want that jump instead of taking the steps along the way. And so that's the waiting game. And it's made our first time home market go from 36% of the entire market to 18% of the entire market right now. So the ones that are buying all the homes are the baby boomers that have a ton of equity in their homes. Interest rates don't matter to them very much because they have their homes paid off or almost paid off. And so it's a big difference right now. The ones that are really transacting and doing a ton are those baby boomers in that generation. The ones that are not are first-time home buyers right now. And then you look at your mid-level, like kind of our age, right? Like people in their 30s, 40s, you know, they're evaluating things and looking at, well, I've got this really low interest rate with a really low payment in my house that I have right now. And that's an asset, right? And I don't know if I want to give that up. And so we see a lot of them putting off needs, right, in this market. And that's where a big portion of buyers are going and why homes are lasting longer and sitting longer. And the move up buyer market and move down buyer market has kind of been a little absent too over the last 3 years. Yeah. So it's it is a little trickier. There's a select market that's out there, but it's proving, like the Coors Field example, right, that there's enough buyers that are still holding it up to where we're still seeing flat to slight growth in the market.
Well, that's where the opportunity is, right? There's still buyers out there.
Yep.
For sellers, your house will sell. Just pay attention and stay focused on the strategy at hand, and you will sell your house. And then if you're ending up going to buy, you're going to have a great time buying.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's the fun part.
There's also programs that allow you to buy and then sell later too, that you guys kind of know about and work with. So, you know, if you think like, that's not an option, there's no way I could do that, you know, that is possible for the average person to do.
We could fill 3 whole podcasts of just resources that we have for buying and selling and making it work.
And really the reality is, in a short story, it'll cost you $3,500 to buy first and sell second, and will make you about $15,000 to $20,000 extra than you would have made if you would have sold first and bought second.
Yep.
That's the truth of it. You know, on negotiations on both ends.
Yep.
Because of how much better and how much smoother and happier the transaction will be.
Yeah. Trust the process.
Yes. You'll be so much happier with the experience, and you'll just feel better if you do it that way. So that's a great lending product. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So awesome. Anything else?
No,
before we break?
I think that's kind of covers everything. So
cool. Well, if any of this like sounds like your situation, maybe you're listed a home and it's on the market still, and you're wondering like, why is it not selling? Maybe I need a different strategy, different agent. Give us a call. We're always happy to help. If you are in a situation where you know are potentially looking at or thinking about selling, like we've talked about, there's a lot of strategy that goes behind this, and it's very specific to your home. So give us a call. Happy to do a walkthrough with you, go over your specific situation and show you what the numbers look like, the science, and then what the art looks like, because both of those things really matter when selling a house. And buying is still an emotional process, but you have to be scientific with planning and preparing and getting that to market. So appreciate you listening, and we will catch you on the next one.